We'll get started with quarterback Nick Fitzgerald. We'll open it for Q&A. Again, if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you, and then we'll call on you. So anyone with questions for Nick, go ahead and raise your hand.
Oh, man, this might be easy. Might be really easy.
We'll go right over here on the back left.
Nick, over here to your left, buddy.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
There we go. I just heard you talking about Coach Moorhead bringing a fresh offense. You kind of expounded on it a little bit. Could you give that to us, just what you mean by that and what you guys hope to do with the offense this year?
Well, watching Penn State's film, he does like a lot of unique things, a lot of different motions, two quarterbacks in the game at the same time, and then kind of just his concepts, throwing the ball downfield and how we read them are pretty different from what I'm used to. So in that way, I guess it's fresh to me. But I think he does some unique things, unique motions, unique formations, and two quarterback sets is not exactly normal here.
All right, we'll go over here on the right side, middle row on the aisle.
Nick, it seems like the SEC is really deep at the quarterback position this year. You've been at it for a couple years now, but do you think it's as deep as it's ever been, and just how does that challenge you to raise your game?
We have a lot of great quarterbacks in the SEC on both sides, East and West. Young guys coming in making plays, older guys with some experience too. I don't know if you can say it's the deepest it's ever been. I couldn't tell you that, but I think that we have a lot of talented guys.
We'll go over here on the left side, back row on the aisle.
Nice bow tie.
I appreciate that.
What's it been like to go through the transition? How tough was it to say goodbye to Dan Mullen, and what's it been like to get to know Coach Moorhead and the staff?
It was tough. He was the guy that recruited me, kind of gave me my shot, one of my only two offers. Phenomenal coach, taught me a lot and kind of developed me into the quarterback I am. When he left, it didn't seem like something was going to happen. You always hear the rumors every year, Dan Mullen's going here, Dan Mullen's going there. And then he walked in the team meeting room, kind of said, hey guys, I don't really know what to say, but I'm leaving, and then kind of walked out. So it was really real at that point. But our AD, Mr. Cohen, did a great job finding a new coach, and Coach Moorhead brought in a great staff, so I'm really excited to play for him.
We'll go down here on the front row, all the way to the left.
Coach Moorhead's got a pretty good track record developing offensive skill players. How have you seen guys like Eris Williams, Keith Mixon improve under him?
The offseason, summertime is really a time for us to improve on ourselves. They're not really coaches involved. But over spring, you saw it. They fit really well into the offensive scheme. You'll see them. There'll be two guys that are going to be really important to our success in offense. But over the summer, it's really just kind of been us working on ourselves, running routes, working on our meshes, and I think you're going to see them both make very, very good plays this year.
Go over here to the right side on the back row of the aisle.
Nick, early in the year, the LSU game, that was a game you guys were really hitting on all cylinders, looking like an awesome football team. Is that kind of what you want to be this year? Is that the potential of this year's team?
We want to start fast and we want to finish strong, just like anybody else. Speaking about the LSU game, we normally play them, at least in my career, we play them third or fourth every season. This year we play them a little bit later on, so it's not going to be kind of that same introduction to SEC play like it normally is. But we're going to go out there, focus on the first game, starting fast, and try to put up some points.
We'll go to the camera platform in the back, all the way to the left.
Hey, Nick, so far, what do you see as the biggest difference in Mullen's coaching style versus Moorhead? So what does Moorhead bring to the table that you like, and I guess the biggest difference in the two as coaches?
I think that, one is a lot more intense than the other. In a way that, you're going to get a little bit more yelling and screaming with Coach Mullen and his staff than we do now. There's definitely a need for it, but Coach Moorhead's not exactly the yeller. I think Moorhead as a coach, extremely talented, very football smart, X's and O's guys, just like Coach Mullen was. It was great to play for Mullen, but I'm really excited to play for Coach Moorhead as well.
We'll go to the front row, all the way to the right on the end.
Nick, 2 years ago, you were replacing Dak Prescott, who was, as we all know, the face of Mississippi State, and it looks like you're going to break a lot of his records. What do you think your legacy is at Mississippi State?
I think it's just kind of a kid who people didn't really give a shot to. I think when I committed, there was a lot of people in the fan base that didn't think that I should have been on the team. So in a way, it's just kind of a kid that kind of changed the mindset of a lot of people in the program, and talented runner. Hopefully go down as a really tough guy. Other than that, I'm going to keep playing and making plays, and whatever it ends up being, it is.
We'll go to the left side on the back row, all the way at the end.
Hey, Nick. I was hoping you would comment on your rehab process, what that was like, and are you 100% today?
As of right now, I am 100%. I've been doing everything the team does, running, agilities, strength, weight room stuff. The rehab process itself was, really long. It was really tough. It started about a month after the surgery, so a month after Thanksgiving Day. Started trying to get back to running on a anti-gravity treadmill, and then kind of work from there to getting on the field jogging, and then from there just kind of running around, making cuts, and doing football functional work.
Go over here to the right side, second row on the end.
Sticking with the injury, Nick, when you went down in the Egg Bowl last year, how difficult was that for you to watch the rest of the game? And I found it interesting that you sort of didn't go to the hospital at the time. I think that was probably what was told to you to do. What was that like for you, and what do you think that shows your other teammates as far as being a leader goes?
It's really tough to be the quarterback and go down and have to watch everybody else play, especially the circumstances that it happened with. But I knew that as a leader, I couldn't leave my team behind. I was going to stay there. I was going to watch to the end, and I was going to make sure that in any way that I could support my teammates from sitting there on that little bench area, that I was going to do that. Right after the game, I got on a van and went to the hospital, but I was not going to leave that game. I wasn't going to leave my teammates hanging like that.
Go to the camera position on the left side.
I think the expectations are pretty high for your team this year, to contend in the West. So what does the team feel about that? Do you guys like having some pressure on you?
Parochially, we've been kind of picked to be in the last of the West, since I've been here. It's never really affected us before. We've always kind of shied away from looking at preseason rankings and what people think that we're going to be, because honestly the people outside of our facility don't really know anything about our team. We do though, so we've always just focused on ourselves, making the plays that we need to make. So wherever we line up preseason, it doesn't really matter. It matters where we end up postseason.
Go over here on the right side, second row on the aisle.
Nick, it seems like you've been pretty positive about your rehab process and sharing a lot through that. Just how difficult has it been how easy has it been to be so positive about it? And what was the toughest moment in your rehab process?
I think the toughest part would have been kind of the week or two period after the surgery, in which I just can't really do anything but lay there on my couch and try to take some pain meds to fall asleep. So that was definitely a downtime, but at the same time, I had to be strong for my teammates. I had to make sure that the fans knew I was going to come back stronger and better than ever. And I always kept that positive attitude that I will be back, I will play again, and I'm going to go make plays. So it wasn't too hard to stay positive.
Go over here on the right side on the front row on the end.
When you look at your receiver group, you got a lot of new faces, and then you have a lot of guys who were coming back from last season. And then you have Malik Deer, who was out last year with an injury. How does he fit into this offense, and are you excited to have him back?
Absolutely. He's a playmaker. We call him a little weeble wobble, a little bowling ball. He's really hard to tackle, really deceptively fast guy. We're excited to have him back off the injury. He's been working really hard, just trying to continue to rehab and continue to strengthen up that knee of his. But you're going to see him make plays this season, no doubt.
Go to the left side on the back row, right on the aisle.
What is the student-athlete community like in Starkville? You've seen the women's basketball team make back-to-back championship game appearances. I know this year had to be an especially tough loss, but also the baseball team going through what it went through and we had finishing in the College World Series. What's it like to be just a part of that community?
We have a great support system, throughout our athletics and throughout our student athletes. We all support each other, we're all friends, we all talk. And so I think in a way that all the athletes are each other's biggest fans, each other's biggest supporters, because we all know exactly what we go through on a daily basis to have those successes. Our women's basketball team is phenomenal, as well as our baseball team. So I'm a huge fan of both. I go to a lot of games and try to support them any way I can.
Go down here to the front row on the right side.
You spent some time in Los Angeles at that quarterback retreat. What was that experience like with other SEC quarterbacks being there?
It was awesome. I ended up getting to go. That was my second year going. This year, it was, I think, me and Jake Fromm, I believe that was the only SEC guys there. It was awesome getting to hang out with them. Oh, and Tua, sorry, and Tua. It was awesome getting to hang out with them. It's cool, guys from the Southeast getting to go all the way to LA and hang out. It's an incredible experience out there. They take care of us well. It's fun hanging out with the little kids and getting to coach them up and impart a little wisdom on them.
Go to the left side, back row all the way on the end.
Nick, I was hoping to get your thoughts on graduate transfers. They're now able to do it inside the conference as well. Just your general thoughts on the ability to transfer, and is it something that is a conversation at all with you guys, or is it just something that's brought up through the coaching staff and administration?
I think that if you've spent 4 years at a university and you graduate and you just feel like you're not a part of that university, you're not a part of that team, you don't like the situation, then by all means, I think that you should be able to leave and go somewhere else, go finish out your playing career somewhere that you think you're going to be happy at.
Yeah, if you got questions for Nick, just raise your hand and we'll get you a microphone. Go to the back row, all the way to the right.
Hey, Nick, obviously a lot has been made of the defensive line. Montez comes back. Now you add Chauncey Rivers. Obviously Jeffrey's there. Talk about, seeing those guys in practice almost every day. What are your expectations of those guys for this year?
They're talked about a lot. Incredibly talented, huge, big, physical, fast group. In my opinion, it has to be one of the best, if not the best, defensive line groups in not even in the conference, but probably in the country. It's extremely hard to get passes off in practice with those guys coming at you. Spring, it was tough watching them. We couldn't really get much going, and that was without Jeffrey Simmons really going in team reps. So add him into the mix, and I don't really see many people being able to have a lot of time to pass the ball.
Go down here on the front row to the right.
What's your relationship like with Coach Andrew Briner, the new quarterbacks coach at Mississippi State?
Phenomenal. He came in and we kind of clicked and had that connection right away. We talk on a daily basis. I'll walk in his office anytime I can for whether it be 10 or 45 minutes, and we'll talk football, we'll talk about life. I think that we connected very quickly, and I'm really glad for it. With it being my fourth quarterback coach in my career here at Mississippi State, it was great to have a guy that comes in that knew me and we could really talk about anything.
Go to the right side on the aisle, back row.
Nick, as a young player, you made that start at LSU a couple years back and everything. What did you learn from that first experience there, and how much have you grown as a player since that game?
I got the chance to travel with the team my redshirt year when we went down there with Dak as the starter, and that was my first experience. Hearing how loud it was, how hostile, how violent it was in there. Going back my first year starting, it was a huge learning experience. It was kind of my introduction to SEC play on a big road game at night, and it was tough. We lost by a few points. Damian came in and played very well in that game. Since then, I think I've just grown a lot as a leader, as a player as well, physically, mentally, emotionally out there, being able to control myself and lead my team.
Go to the camera platform back here on the left.
Nick, what would you say would be your best strength as a quarterback, and what's something that you're trying to improve upon this season?
I think it's pretty apparent that I'm a pretty good runner. I think that's something that I've always kind of fell back on. If my look wasn't there passing, I could always just try to get what I could with my legs, and that's just something I've worked on over the offseason. Is tweaking my throwing motion a little bit, become a more accurate passer, work on my pocket presence, stay in there a little bit longer, and deliver the ball instead of trying to tuck it and go.
Go to the back row all the way in the end, left side.
Nick, what do you miss most about Dan Mullen?
Away from coaching, the conversations we had, he's a really cool guy. He's very knowledgeable about a lot of things in life, so we always had some pretty intelligent conversations.
We'll go in the middle, right here on the second row.
I just wonder what you remember about the play that you got injured. What was your first thought, and just when did you know that it was really bad?
Well, for starters, I think they made the wrong read, so I probably should have handed the ball off in the first place. So that was kind of where my downfall began. But I just remember planting my foot and getting hit and falling. And as I was falling, I kind of just felt something pop. Something wasn't right. and it just kind of felt numb, and I kind of heard everybody start screaming around me, and I looked at it, and that's kind of when the pain set in. It was pretty excruciating.
Anything else for Nick? All right, thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it.